The legal tampering period is less than 30 days away. Let's get it. Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. And in today's show, we'll be talking about the San Francisco 49ers 2026 free agency. Now, the legal tampering period actually begins at midnight Eastern on March the 9th. This is the period where teams can contact players' agents and begin negotiating contracts before they can be officially signed, which is March the 11th. Now, a couple other key dates. You have the franchise tag designation window happening on February the 17th. You have April 17th being that deadline for the restricted free agent offer sheets. And then, of course, you have a fast follower, April 23rd through 25th being the NFL draft. But hopefully I can stay on track here and discuss just specifically free agency, not talking about the what-if trade scenarios, draft movement, anything like that. Just focusing on free agency, who is out there, and who the Niners can go and try to grab to help this team in the upcoming season. Now, the temperature I glean from John Lynch in the front office, Kyle Shanahan, is that the 49ers want to be aggressive this year. And I feel that aggression will be amped up on all fronts. We're talking free agency. I think trade movement in the draft. I feel like all these various areas the 49ers are going to be aggressive in. I think that there is a good pressure on the front office and this coaching staff to make some moves to better this team. And I'm talking outside of health. If this team can be 85% healthy next season, and they were able to go 12-5 with a very injured team this year, one would think, okay, what can't this team accomplish with getting some extra help in here, getting some depth, getting some key playmakers, getting some difference makers for this team? And I think there's a lot of incentive, especially on John Lynch, to do something like that. This may be a situation where he goes out here and has a great year, gets this team to a Super Bowl and gets himself a contract extension. Or the other scenario is that this team falls short and there may be some questions about his long-term positioning in that role going forward. So I think it's a big year for the team. I feel like it's a big deal for this front office as well. And it seems to me, just in the end of the year presser, that they are already strategizing and talking about what they can do to make this team better. You hear all these rumors out there about the San Francisco 49ers being a key player in the Max Crosby sweepstakes. We'll talk about that trade, those trade scenarios on another show. But let's deep dive this specifically free agency. Now, the 2026 NFL salary cap is projected to be around $301 to $305 million per team. And that's a very significant jump compared to last season's 279, maybe 0.2 million that it was for the 2025 season. So that's a significant jump in just per team cap space. That's going to be able to put pretty much all teams with that bump being able to go out there and make some good free agent moves. And based on projections, now I want to be clear, by no stretch am I a salary cap mathematician. I leave other folks, the experts in that, to help me out some and give me some ideas. And I've seen projections out there anywhere from about 55 million with rollover from the prior year, plus the bump in cap space, to 60 million for the 49ers. So that's significant cap space. I believe that's probably going to put them like in the top 5 of salary caps out there for free agency. So they can make moves, and I feel that they can make a couple of significant moves if they feel that there are some free agents out there that can move that needle enough with getting a healthy Fred Warner, getting a healthy Nick Bosa back, a healthy Michael Williams. These centerpieces, maybe we could get, and I don't think the 49ers should bet their future on this, but maybe if you get a fully healthy Ricky Pearsall back at wide receiver, that'll do some significant things for the team on top of what they can do in free agency. So let's break this thing down free agency wise. And I feel that offensively, the Niners do need some help. I do not think you can go into this season with as hurt as Ricky Pearsall has been. Brandon Ayuk's not walking through that door. I feel like you need to make a move, and more than likely in a trade scenario, draft, free agent, whatever you need to do. So let's take a look at what the wide receiver market looks like for free agency. Now, you have George Pickens, which for all intents and purposes is probably the belle of the ball when it comes to the best wide receiver out there. But of course, it's worst kept secret in the world that the Dallas Cowboys are probably going to franchise tag that guy and try to work out maybe something long-term with him. But I don't think that the Cowboys are going to allow George Pickens to walk out that door. He's 25 years old. There were periods of time where this season he looked like the best wide receiver in all of football. He can be a bit unstable at times. I really don't see the Cowboys letting George Pickens even have an opportunity to get out there and test free agency seriously. So that leads me into the next guy. And I think this is probably everyone's next best guy at the top of their boards. But you look at a guy like Alec Pierce from the Indianapolis Colts. I think he would be a great fit for the 49ers scheme. I think, Alec Pierce paired with a healthy Ricky Pearsall would be a very welcome sight. And he's 26 years of age. He can do it all. He's fast. He can stretch the field. He's got a good route tree. The only thing with him is that I think he's gonna garner a very big contract, probably the highest out there, because I don't think George Pickens is going to hit any type of real free agency. So I think that's going to cost you. It hits you hard in the pocketbook. If you feel like he is that guy and he can send that offense over the top, as I said before, if he's your guy, you go out there and get that man. I know it'll cost a lot, but you go out there and get that guy. This offense, guys, was locked down by Seattle. There was very little separation. There was very little separation really all year long, regardless of what defense we played against. Even Kyle Shanahan said himself, they're missing speed. They've got to get some speed and inject some speed on this team. There's a few other guys out here I like. Romeo Doubs, I know he's going to be a big-time name. He's a young guy. He's 26 years of age. He doesn't have that elite speed, though. So I don't see the 49ers going after Romeo Doubs. I like going after a guy like Rashid Shaheed. The reason I would like to go after him is because it hurts the Seattle Seahawks. And I know that's probably a little petty to say, but right now the 49ers, even though just a few games in the regular season, right now after Seattle's won this Super Bowl, guys, everybody's looking up right now at the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC. So what can you do to bridge that gap? Rashid Shaheed we've seen it with our own eyes, a great special teams guy. He's not going to probably get a lot of volume touches, but man, what Kyle could do with him out of the slot or some gadget plays or just what he could bring for special teams. And also that would pull away from the Seattle Seahawks. So I like that move. I know there's been talk about Deebo Samuel possibly coming back on something team friendly. And I want to be clear. I really like Deebo Samuel, what he did for the 49ers. I like his attitude, man. I know everybody loves Deebo, but loving Deebo the person and Deebo the player at this stage in his career probably is not going to be ideal at all. Even if he came back on the most friendliest of deals, I feel like the Niners need speed. And I love Deebo to death, man, but this isn't 2021 Deebo anymore. And I just feel like he's still some snaps away from some younger guys that we need to get out there, like a Jordan Watkins. I'd rather those touches go to Jordan Watkins to see what we have in him versus a Deebo Samuel. I'm very confident that we're not re-signing Jawan Jennings at his age, 29. And I know he's familiar with the system and all, but what he's going to ask for per year, I think we should just go get another guy, period. So if it were up to me out of the wide receiver group, I feel like it's Alec Pierce or bust, so to speak. And if you had to go, if you couldn't land there, I think Rashid Shaheed is where you have to go, just from how versatile that I think Kyle could use him in the system. And it would be addition by subtracting him from the Seattle Seahawks. Tight ends. This is an area where my number one target for the 49ers are in this player group here of tight end. If I had the ability to control the San Francisco 49ers, I would go after Kyle Pitts, regardless of whatever it took. In the 49ers offense, tight end is so important. And honestly, and I believe in George Kittle, and I know George is going to try to get out there as soon as possible. But the reality is that George has fewer days left in his career. He can't just be rushed back in there if he's not 100% ready. So we may not truly have George Kittle ready to go at the beginning of the season. I could even see it something like mid-season, maybe even 10 games. This is a very worst case scenario, but tight end is a big deal, a very big deal. And this kid is young, man. Kyle Pitts is 25, and I don't even think he's really hit his peak. What Kyle Shanahan could do and scheme up for him, I think would just unlock a brand new tier with Kyle Pitts in that offense. And I know it may take 14, 15 million per season, but the reality is that George Kittle's got less years left than he does more years left. So I would go after Kyle Pitts. I know a lot of folks are going to say, what about the offensive line? And I promise we're about to get there shortly. But I think you could go trenches in the draft. If you can't get Kyle Pitts, because I know there's going to be a lot of guys out there going after Kyle, I really feel like the Kansas City Chiefs are going to make an enormous push for Kyle Pitts as well. So if you can't have Kyle Pitts, and looking out here, there's a few guys I wouldn't mind. If you couldn't go there, this is what I would do. I really like Isaiah Likely. He's a young, big weapon in space. If you couldn't get somebody like Isaiah Likely, maybe David Njoku. He's a huge athletic body. He's going to probably be a little pricey himself, but I could see him being able to do some things blocking-wise, catching-wise, and he's another guy, bless his heart, that's been stuck on the Cleveland Browns. So who knows what he could end up being in a Kyle Shanahan-led offense. Let's get to this offensive line because I know a lot of folks have been mentioning trenches, and I'm right there with you. You're not going to sit up there and beat a Los Angeles Rams or a Seattle Seahawks without getting tougher in the trenches, without being able to average more yards per carry next season, as well as allow less yards per carry next season. And that does start and end with the trenches. The only thing I would say is the guys that are available out here and the type of money that they'll require, I just feel like I'd rather go with younger guys in the draft than dropping like a 4-year, $80 million contract on a Tyler Linderbaum. I want to be clear, I like Tyler Linderbaum. I think he would be awesome on the 49ers. But I think you focus more on the trenches in the draft than you would the offensive line in free agency right now. So you have Tyler Linderbaum. You have Vera Tucker from the Jets. He's a guard. I know that's going to be a place that we're going to have to address. Again, that's going to be a really high cap number there. Like a Braxton Jones, he's 27 years old. That's a youth tackle solution. So I just feel like you need to stay away from O-line out there and try to really go after the offensive line needs in the draft. Now for the defensive line and the edge, there are a couple of guys out here I just don't feel like the Niners are going to go this route, but let's name them off anyway. So you have Trey Hendrickson. I feel like most folks feel like he would be the number one overall free agent win The only thing is that the guy's 31 years of age already. Now, if the Niners were to add Trey Hendrickson on the other side of Nick Bosa, that would be a very big deal. I think it would instantly upgrade that D-line to being one of the best in the NFL right off the bat. But what would that contract even look like? I just don't see the 49ers tying up that type of coin in a player that's going to demand the type of contract that I feel Trey Hendrickson is even going to want. And all this contract stuff is why he's even about to be available in free agency right now because of what's been going on in Cincinnati. I just don't see that. It'd be nice to go after somebody like a Jalen Phillips, somebody that's 27 years old, really high ceiling rushing talent. It would also pull away from the Philadelphia Eagles. But in reality, are they going to let that man walk out the building? I sincerely doubt it. I have a strange suspicion, though, that realistically, like a Joey Bosa could be something I could see happening, even though I don't think he'd play on a discount, but maybe he would. Maybe Nick would restructure his contract to be able to have the ability to play a few seasons with his brother before he's no longer a 49er. Not too sure, but it's just one of those strange suspicions that I have where I could actually see something like that happening. From a cornerback perspective, yes, I'd love a Jamel Dean. I'd love a Jalen Watson. I think that would be great. I like Jalen a lot. He's 27 years old. Solid coverage, good tackler. I just think that would be a lot of money, maybe too pricey. If you were going to pay that type of money, I have a couple of sneaky ideas. And again, this is probably me going back to being petty. But, man, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, these guys from the Seattle Seahawks, man. Addition by subtraction. Pay one of these guys, pull them away. Learn about what will be the defending Super Bowl champions heading into next season. I would add some significant talent, some significant youth. Both of those guys are 27 years old, and it would pull away from the Seahawks. So if you're going to pay a guy, why not pay one of those guys? Obviously, they're doing some good things in Seattle right now. So I think that would be a good place that you can pull away and make that happen. At safety, I like a Brian Cook. Again, I think that's going to be a Brian Cook from the Chiefs. I think that's going to cost way too much coin. Maybe a Cameron Curl. Again, pulling away from somebody in your division, pulling somebody away from the Rams. And he is he's got some scheme versatility. I think it would do very well with Raheem Morris being our new D coordinator. I think he could do a lot with a Cam Curl. And remember, Cam's 27. Again, youth, speed. Get some of these old guys out of here. But overall, guys, that's pretty much the show for today. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Do you have any key free agents you could see the 49ers going after? Maybe a significant value that could add some help and some depth to this football team. I think there's two big key factors that were glaring this year. Even though we won 12 games, even though we won a huge playoff game, I think that everyone would agree top priority has to be health. This team has to get healthy, has to stay healthy for sure. But on the other side, we've got to inject some youth into this football team, and we have to be able to inject some speed. Guys, that's going to be it for today's show. If you like the show today, please remember to like and subscribe, as it definitely helps out the channel. If you happen to run into another faithful, pull up your phone, show them the show on YouTube. It really help us out. As always, take care, be blessed, and go Niners.